always had a very loving, very enmeshed, highly suffocating, dysfunctional relationship. I see this resonates with some of you. Immediately I know that something is very wrong. Your mother had a stroke. Yes, she did. We can take her to the good hospital or the other hospital. I have zero connections in the stroke rehabilitation space. I do, however, have 5,000 friends on Facebook. I message men I slept with 20 years ago. I message men I forgot I slept with 20 years ago. You weren't meant to be a full-time caregiver. You need to go back to your life. Go back to Los Angeles. Mom and I have always...
This is still a breakfast show, right? Yeah. Okay, just checking. You may recognize her from Curb Your Enthusiasm or Hacks, but actor and comedian Iris Bahr is in Toronto performing her solo See You Tomorrow at the Fringe Festival.
And you can catch it over the next 10 days, playing until July the 13th. We'd like to welcome the one and only funny lady storyteller, Iris Bahr, to CP24 Breakfast. What an honor to have you.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for having me.
So I was just saying during the break, you know, it's amazing that you're an American living in New York, coming to Toronto to do the Fringe Festival. So why have you decided to make our beloved city home to your one-woman solo show?
Well, I've heard great things about the Theatre Fringe in general across Canada, and I just did the Montreal Festival with another solo show. And I haven't been to Toronto in a long time, and I was excited to bring it to, you know, audiences. Toronto, New York, you know, same but different.
So how do you do this? You wrote this?
Yes.
You do the entire thing yourself? There's all kinds of accents involved. This sounds like an exhausting sort of proposition. Like, what was the mindset you had going into this thing? I want to try this.
Well, I've been doing solo shows for a long, long time. No spring chicken.
So you like them?
I do like them. I like playing people I would never otherwise play. These last two shows are actually nonfiction and about my life. My other show is about my near-death experiences. Previously, I would write fictional shows and play different, different characters. So it's a very vulnerable role. It is exhausting, but it's also very gratifying. And, this particular show, See You Tomorrow, is about caregiving and mother-daughter relationships and stroke and dementia. It's fun. It's a fun time. It's a musical. But it resonates with a lot of people, and so they come to me after. So I feel like it's really the healing power of the arts, but I really feel that way. So I handle all my trauma through humor. That's my coping mechanism. So everything I do is always really funny. I don't make light of it, but I find the humor through the darkness. So that's what I do with this show, too.
Yeah, for certain. They say, right, like, what is it? Trauma plus time
is comedy,
or something like that.
One of those trauma and more trauma.
One of those things.
Yes.
So I'm very fascinated because, I mean, you're obviously an actress. We've seen you on the ski lift and Curb Your Enthusiasm and Hacks. But did you ever start out with a stand-up comedy background, and did that help you in the one-woman show solo space? Because it's just kind of extended storytelling, right? And are you setting up punchlines in these stories?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that with storytelling, obviously, you have more freedom. The joke-to-minute ratio can be different, and I take people to different places. But I think that over the last few years, especially, stand-up and storytelling is kind of merged, and stand-up specials now include more story. There's kind of more of this hybrid situation. But I do like the long form. This particular show is one story. I do a little bit tangents, but it's one long form. And the other show I did in Montreal were these vignettes. So I kind of like to mix it up. And then I go home and cry. So it's pretty much, I make you laugh, and then I go and torture myself.
Oh my God,
the pain of the reality of the situations,
exactly.
right? You sacrifice for our enjoyment. So we appreciate that.
Thank you. That's what I'm for.
The fact that you're doing it based on your own life versus the fictional stuff that you created, is it easier or harder? I mean, what's...
Both, I think. Obviously, there's just a raw vulnerability that comes, an emotional availability that comes when you're telling your own story. But I'm also still living this story.
Right.
So that's when it becomes challenging, because you're living it. You tap into the deep, dark emotions and also the humor. But then you come home and you're like, and it's a solo show, so you can't really go out with the cast and drink. I guess in Toronto you can't drink now for two. Everyone is like slitting their wrists at home. There's no booze for I'm not a big drinker, so
we understand bars will still have booze. It's just the liquor store.
Oh, it's just the liquor store. Okay.
Liquor.
So you will have access. So the panic is literally just about the purchasing.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've walked down Queen Street. There's like a place selling marijuana every
it's pretty, I mean, in New York, when you walk with the whole legal, it's like you just get this contact. Like I'm walking the streets, I'm like, all right, just walking in open air, just wafting.
That's so
everywhere.
wild. Oh my gosh. So, Iris, I know you won, a ton of awards for this. Well, you've won the specifically Helen Hayes Award, but also for your Stories from the Brink nominated.
Yes.
Stories, My Festive near-death adventures.
Yes.
I was listening to that canoe trip story, which is just wild.
It's insane, yes.
Have you always been a good storyteller, or is it something that you had, did acting help? Where did you get this art for being such a captivating storyteller?
First of all, thank you.
are.
Yeah, I'm sure I've gotten better, over the years. I've always liked enjoying telling stories, but I think I also teach storytelling, and so I think between teaching, I've learned from my students also as I'm teaching, and doing these shows over the years, I think you hone your craft.
So you write
sure.
first. You write it all down first, or how does your process work?
It comes and goes. I think sometimes I'll improv stuff, and because stuff that actually happened, obviously, I'll improv it. Improv is my sweet space, as you guys know from Curb.
I was just
and I
gonna
had
say.
an improv show called Svetlana that was on Access TV back in the day. So I just love that. And so it kind of, as you improv, you hone it, you see what works with the audiences. I added a couple of new bits into the show for tomorrow. I mean, today. We open today.
That's right. Today's the opener. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
4:15. A nice slot for the nappers. You know what I mean? Come at 4:15, see the show. But I added some new bits, so we'll see how they work. So it's kind of this dialogue between the audience. And hopefully you guys, it seems like Toronto has a good sense of humor.
I think
I'm not worried
they
about that.
definitely do. If they're watching us, they do. That's for sure. And I mean that in a good way, not a bad way. Can I quickly slide in a Curb question? Because you talked about improv.
Curb away.
We're such
Curb
Curb
away.
fans
Yes.
here at
Yes.
CB24 Breakfast.
Yeah.
Did you learn anything from Larry David from that program, or did you already go in with such strong improv sort of bona fides? Like,
I think you learn from every experience. I mean, if you think you're not learning, then you're a little too cocky.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I think being with Larry and everybody on that show that are such masters, and I've said this like many times, Larry loves when everyone around him is funny.
Yes.
So there's a complete feeling. Great improv comes when you feel trust and you're not afraid of failing and you're just kind of going for it. And this improv in particular is very grounded, right? The show is grounded, so you're grounded in the character. It's not like, when you're seeing improv shows, sometimes it can get a little wacky. So Larry just lets you do your thing. And so we would just roll and play. And so that's the joy of it. And everyone's like, is it all improvised? And I'm like, yes. But he obviously is meticulous in his storylines, right? The outlines are so meticulous now, everything comes
the way they weave, oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was so happy to be on the when like when they called me,
kidding,
Oh my
they're like, come
gosh.
do it. I'm like, I will fly across the globe on my dime to do this show. So it was so great doing it.
And you allude to Curb in this show,
Yes,
where
I do.
your mother's
Yes.
like, can Larry David call you? Like,
Yes.
will he call you and give you another job back? And you're like, Mom, I don't think so.
Yeah, exactly. Well, socialized medicine, as you guys know, like you have to really work it. You know what I mean? So to get my mom another CAT scan, I had to tell them I was on Friends, and that's what sealed the deal. They're like, it's too expensive. I'm like, oh yes, 4 CAT scans, whatever you need. You know what I mean? So you milk it whenever you can.
And you're also on another show that's getting a lot of buzz. People keep saying Hacks is an amazing show. So tell us about who you play on this show and why people should watch it.
Well, Hacks is, I think, a brilliant show. I was in the season 1. I played Perla, a very salty Russian nurse. So I harken back to my days where I played Svetlana.
Can you do a bit of that right now?
Well, Perla was actually a very nice nurse. So she was happy helping, you know what I mean, helping her with the seeing and the eye surgery, and, but she's like, you can help her go to the bathroom, but, don't be too salty. So Perla was more of like a fun nurse. Like Svetlana was just, my character Svetlana was a madam. She ran a brothel, St. Petersburg House of Discreet Pleasure. I know it's a breakfast show. Keeping it PG, or G, I don't know. It's Toronto. Maybe it's edgier. Who knows?
It's after
the Canadians, right?
Oh, my gosh.
Iris,
Iris Bahr. Oh,
good luck to see you tomorrow. Thanks so much.
I just want to also say there are like 77 shows at the festival. So besides seeing mine, see everything. They're across like 13 venues across the city. So there's a lot of great stuff happening.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
See you tomorrow, but see it today.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice to meet you, Iris.
And we'll see you.